All right, we're live on Facebook. All right, Uncle Andy. Okay, so my name's Havenwood, everyone. If you're listening, I'm super excited to introduce you to, let's see this way, yeah, Uncle Andy. And I'll let you introduce yourself, Uncle Andy. And that's not his real name for me, right? But that's what he's, let me just give you a gist, right? He is in my new podcast course, which is all about how do you use podcasting to create influence. And so part of that process of the influencer growth formula, pillar one, is how do you actually leverage the tool of podcasting to get more clients, to connect, to network. How do you do that? And so we use Uncle Andy because part of the process is we actually create you a persona. It doesn't always have to be your name. It could be a persona. And so we created Uncle Andy, and we'll explain to you why that is in a second. But first, who are you?
Oh, thank you, Heather. Thank you for inviting me on. My name is Andy Bell, and I'm the I kind of made my fame on running Handyman Matters, which is a national handyman franchise. I founded that 21 years ago. Mm-hmm. So Uncle Andy, and one of the people, the reason I'm called Uncle Andy is my niece and I are going to do this podcast together, and she's worked for me. So we want to talk about family. We want to talk about business. We want to talk about family business. So that's how you kind of named me Uncle Andy a little bit, and that's my handle.
I love it. I'm glad because it creates relation, right? So part of the reason why podcasting is so important, and I talk about this in the course, is that people can connect with you versus like you're this big badass guy for 21 years. You create a company now as like franchises around the country. I mean, that's pretty daunting for some people. And since your clientele are people that are everyday folks looking to get out of their businesses or go into, get out of their companies and go into a business to have more of a lifestyle, people want to be able to connect with you. Like, if you can do it, I can do it. And that's part of the persona when you're creating a show. You don't want people to feel like you're so above them they can't connect with you depending on your product and service. And that's why I said Uncle Andy, and then we're just calling her, niece Nicole, right? Niece Nicole, I think that's what we're calling her. So yeah. I think it's really great. So what's the name of your show? It's not out yet, but what's the name of your show?
It's Freedom by Design. It's business, it's family, and it's the family business. So anybody who is a wife and a husband working together in a family, anybody who is has their daughter working with a father or a father working with a son, they're going to come on, and we want to share those experiences. Some of them are nonsense. We do things as family, and some of them are just solid foundational thoughts on how to get along as a family, how to run a business, and ultimately, perhaps in many cases, and it would be a dream of mine, is to create a legacy. I would love for my sons to take over this business. They're in college. As soon as they get out of college, I want them to cut their teeth on working for another. But when it's time and it's ready and it's the moment, I would adore working with my son, and I'm sure there's many fathers out there that would as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really important. There's a whole show right now on HBO called Succession about what I call kind of the catastrophe of passing on. Right? Yeah, there's huge statistics that talk about the failure of a business in the second and third generation. So I think it's really great that you're creating this show, not only for maybe your sons to listen to, but also to help other people. Because I think when you're helping other people go through that transition or just coming together as a family, you've kind of gone through that process for many years. So I think it's really unique and cool. And that's part of the podcast, I think, legacy that you're creating. This is really something that people are going to be listening to for 15 and 20 years, like what you've learned and then literally passing it on to your niece. How old is your niece? How old is Nicole?
She's 35. And so we're a couple decades apart. And I heard a statistic the other day. There are 5 generations of people in the workforce. You've got people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. These generational, just imagine managing that as an employer. You might have somebody who's 65 years old and somebody who's 28, totally different. So we want to explore that. We want to uncover that. And Heather, I just got to tell you, we had no idea what to do with the podcast, nothing at all. I bumped into you through one of our franchise owners out of Seattle, Washington. He has a radio show, and you have delivered to me personally exactly what I was looking for. What I was looking for is just tell me how to do it. And you've done that right down to the audio cable. One of my favorite moments in your training is when you held up this. See, it has one for audio and it doesn't have anything. It has one for video, but it doesn't have a mic on it. You plug that into your ears, and then it goes through the main mic. And you've told us about every tool we need to have, every microphone, every light, absolutely everything has been described down to the practical level. And it's not just kind of described it. You have workflow, how pre and post production goes, what free softwares you've discovered. You've been vulnerable, you've been honest, and you've been giving. So it couldn't have, you've given me more than what I expected. And I just want to thank you, because as we go forward, you're the foundation of what and who we're going to become. So
thank you for that. I really appreciate it. We're now coming to the end of the course. And so, what has been the biggest challenges that you've faced through the course, or like you've overcome, or something you didn't like, oh, I didn't know we had to do that kind of thing? Like, what was a surprise for you?
Yeah, I think the biggest surprise for me is the way that technology daisy chains together to be listed and syndicated to iTunes and pushed out into front of people. So I love the energy. I love the bio line. I love coming up with the name of the podcast. I love the structure you've given us. I love the help and assistance on one-on-one and in the group setting. The Skype meetings, I'm so excited for everybody else that's on there. I've learned stuff from the people that are participating. There's between 6 and 7 of us. And what I'm introducing today, and you and I have an opportunity to, Heather not only does group settings, but one-on-one. We're going to bring our technology guy in today, so you can have him cover that for me. Yeah. But if I didn't have that, you've also offered to do that for me. And that was like, I can do this. I can do this with Heather. Not without her, but I could do it with her. So you've given us a lot. I love
that. The part of the intention of the course was to show you can do it yourself, you can do it with us, or we're going to do it for you. I mean, there's that three options.
You can pick your lane. You've given us the choice, and whatever would suit you. As far as getting this on the road, because the rubber meets the road when you actually do 0, and 1, right? Yeah. The first 2 episodes, and you're going to help us with everything. It's just so complete. It's so complete.
Thank you. Thanks for that. So I'm super excited for you. I'm going to be doing the 0, I think, for you and Nicole coming up soon. We're talking to your tech guy today. Where was I with that? So I think what do you see now in the future? Like, when you signed up, and kind of what do you see happening now with that you thought, oh, I never really saw this really going to this level? What do you see now for yourself and your company?
You know what? You have the notion. Okay, I want to do a podcast. And it's so fragmented on all the different pieces that you have to put together. Yeah. What I found is that, relying and counting on and learning from you've put all the fragmented pieces together. But I think there's a lot of opportunity in this market. I think it's still a new market that can be innovated. It could be, somebody could bundle up some of these softwares to make things easier. There's a lot of innovation going on. But mostly what I learned is what our podcast needs to do and what it's going to mean to others. And I really think bringing husband and wives, fathers and daughters, fathers and sons, mothers and daughters, I didn't have that notion. But what you've done is you've given us a thematic direction to follow, which kind of says we're not everything. We're this is our lane. And so not only have you helped us with just the actual post-production and all that jazz, but getting ourselves lined up. So if you're fearful about starting a podcast and you don't know why or how to do it, I think Heather Havenwood's your answer. So I'm so thrilled. We're gonna launch it in the next couple of weeks, and you'll always be near and dear our heart, Heather.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, I'm excited for you guys, because I think one of the 3 things that people don't realize what the intentions are of podcasting. This is similar also to speaking when you travel around the country speaking. Right. The first one is to get people into some kind of strategy session for your company. And that's, you guys are ultimately selling people into potentially creating a franchise with you, buying into a franchise. And there's a whole strategy around that. So that's the first intention. But the next second intention is the connection, and the connecting with you guys are real people. You're not just some if you did a magazine ad, you're just some random people on a piece of paper. You really are 21 years in the business, and how you started your business and your story around that, like your credit card, $10,000 sitting in the basement. I mean, like, it's a real story, and I think that says a lot. That's the second piece, I think, of podcasting. And the third piece is creating JV opportunities of partnerships, more podcasting, what I call cross promotion, but also what I call partnerships, where you're connecting partnerships with, let's say, lawyers and commercial agents, all kinds of around the country, because podcasting immediately is nationwide and not worldwide at day one. And so I think something that you and Nicole have talked to me about. You can really see this expanding, taking this small thing called a podcast, looks kind of small, and it all of a sudden creates this ongoing advertising, for your company, and makes you guys really real. I was just thinking of you, Nicole. I was opening in the magazine, Entrepreneur Magazine, when I was on the plane yesterday, and I started all these franchise, ads, right?
Right.
And in the back. And I'm thinking to myself, none of these have podcasts.
Nobody. We're going to take the industry by storm. I think your assistance has tied us into a really new environment for people. Yeah. I want to move to the thought leader level with both home improvement, with franchising, with business, and working with family. I think those things matter, and I'm excited to share our experiences and deliver a message that hopefully is helpful to others, and they want to join us. If they join us and want to be part of the franchise system, that's the golden ring, right?
Yeah, that's the golden rule. But at least they can connect with you. I think that's the key piece. And I have a potential client coming down the pipe that he's doing something similar, not in the franchise world, but he has he's in his 50s and his son is in late 20s, early 30s, and there's that generational gap. And so part of him doing the podcast is a legacy conversation. He wants to actually share everything he knows in business. He's a very successful businessman with his son, but he wants to do it in a public setting so that other people can learn, and I think that's just kind of neat. You've done 21 years. If you've taken a business and made it franchisable, and then you've grown a franchise, I mean, that's a very specific, skill set that a lot of people would love to know how you did that. Just that itself.
Yeah, the lessons learned, the fun of working with Nicole over the last decade, and the opportunity to have a voice that's much greater than we've ever had is just inspiring. It's the next step. It's the next.
What's the name of your show?
Freedom by Design. Freedom by Design. You owning your own business, you can do it your way. You can go home, you can pick up your children, you can drop them off, you can take a weekend off. It's about owning your own business and having the freedom to design your life, right? Yeah.
Oh, completely. All right, everyone, this is Heather Havenwood, and this is Uncle Andy over there. So check it out, Freedom by Design. And if you're interested in launching your own show, we have different products I have basically done for you, done with you, or completely do it yourself. So check it out. Reach out to me privately. Everyone, this is Heather. You're welcome, Uncle Andy. Everyone, this is Heather Havenwood. Have a great day.